Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome, One Wheel Jamie. Welcome, Sky Brooks, Rodov, Aziza, MIR. Thank you all so much for joining me for today's episode of Just the Tip. I'm your host, Akira, and Just the Tip is hey, Soja Boy. Just the Tip is a weekly IG live show on the Pornhub account where me and another popular porn star will be answering all of your sex questions and giving sex tips and sex advice that's based on our experience as porn stars. So please don't mistake this with official sex education, because this is all just based on our experience as sluts. So before we get started, I want to remind you that the Pornhub Big Package Initiative is still going on. Pornhub is helping small businesses to recover from COVID, from the global pandemic, by giving free ad space to small businesses with 100 employees or less, by giving them free ad space on Pornhub. As everyone knows, Pornhub has a ton of daily traffic every single day, so that is definitely worth checking out if you're a small business and you want more exposure and just a way to boost business. You can apply at pornhubpackage.com. If you are a small company with 100 employees or less, then you're eligible. So let's get started. So before Reid joins us today, I'm going to I'll always be addressing one question that I get asked like an overwhelming amount. Last week we talked about dick size. That's just like by far the number one thing I get asked the most anytime I put out a call for any kind of questions. Even if it's just like questions that have nothing to do with sex. But today I wanted to talk about cum. I get a lot of questions related to cum. What does cum taste like? This question generally comes from dudes, which is very weird to me because if I were a dude, like, I totally know what my cum tastes like. Like, I mean, why would you not want to know? Like, this is something that, you're like feeding to people when you get a blowjob. Like, why wouldn't you want to know if it like tastes good or like shit or whatever? But you don't have to do that because I'm going to tell you exactly what it tastes like. It's not great on its own. It's warm. It is a little bit bitter and a little bit salty. The saltiness depends on who it's coming from, I would say. It's definitely an acquired taste. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but like I always compare it to eating olives. Like the first time you eat an olive, you're like, this is nasty. But over time, you get used to it. And then it's like, at this point, I don't even know if it tastes good or bad. Like, I can't tell. It doesn't even, not that it is tasteless. It's just kind of like, I've accepted it for what it is. I will say, I've heard, this is again, not like medical advice or anything, but I have heard that if a guy's cum tastes sweet, he might be at risk for diabetes. And actually, I was sucking a guy's dick once and his cum was sweet. And I told him this piece of information and he got checked out and he was pre-diabetic and he was actually able to reverse it through diet and exercise. So, like I kind of like saved his life. So whatever, no big deal. Another question is, can you feel when a guy comes inside of you? Yes, I can always tell when a guy comes inside of me. So don't try to be sneaky. Personally, if it's with, consent and we've agreed upon him being allowed to come inside of me, I love it. Like, it turns me on so much. Like, you can feel it pumping inside of you. It's almost like you can feel a heartbeat inside of your vagina or asshole or wherever. And I really like it. It turns me on. Like, it kind of makes me come. Do different men have different tasting cum? Yes. Different degrees of bitterness, saltiness. I would say for the most part, I've never had anyone's cum taste like straight up nothing. Like that's never been a thing. But yeah, like if I like the guy, like no matter how disgusting his cum is, it doesn't taste foul to me. I don't know if that makes sense, and maybe that's not the case for everyone, but that is how I feel. All right, so let's move on from the cum-related questions and move on to some other sex-related questions. I'm going to see if Riley is ready to join us. Yep, she is. I'm adding her. This is such an honor to be talking to Riley.
Hello.
Hey!
How are you?
I'm good. Oh, are you in your new house?
Yes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It's so bright and like perfect for shooting.
Oh, it is. Hold on. I'm like setting up the tripod so I can.
No, you're good. So, not that Riley needs an intro, but Riley is one of the most popular porn stars in the world for a few years now. That's a hard title to keep up, and you've held it for a few years now.
I know it is. It's weird, honestly. I'm like, when is the next new bitch gonna come? We had Lana Rhodes, and now who's gonna come after Lana? Like, it's really interesting to see what's gonna come next.
It is really interesting, especially because like I feel like the top porn star is like it's always someone really, really different. Like there's you, and then you're a totally different type from like Lana Rhodes, or like Lisa Ann was the top running bitch for a while, and like she's totally different.
Oh,
so,
100%.
Very
it is. It always changes with the times.
Yeah. But we'll see what comes next. We're waiting for you, whoever you are.
I know, you hot mystery bitch. Where are you?
Are you gonna be upset when like you start seeing like your name falling down the rankings?
No, it already is falling down. And like I've had friends ask me that too, and I'm like, honestly, so long as my bank account is like, that's the only rank I care about, is the rank in my bank account. I don't care about what online says. Yeah.
I will say I've been falling for years now. I've been falling for like almost a decade. It hurt in the beginning, I will say that. Like there was a time where I was like, if I'm not in the top 10 anymore, like what's the point of living? Now that I'm like in the 30s, I'm like you now. I'm like, you know what? As long as I'm still able to make a living off of being a slut, I am very grateful.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm grateful for my time of shining, and I know it's not going to last forever. So it's like, at some point, it's going to go on the decline, because my body will do that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get started with these questions. I compiled a bunch of listener questions, just put out a call on social media. And I picked out some ones that I thought you specifically would be really interesting to ask. So the first question, I'm not going to say anyone's names because I feel like it's easier for people to ask sex questions when we don't out them.
Yeah, I agree.
But the first question is, what is the best way to eat a woman out? And maybe that's not a question that like two women can answer, but like, I guess the question is, what is the best way to eat you out?
Okay.
Right.
The best way to go down on me, I think, is like, I always love a build up and like a tease. I'm all about tease and foreplay and everything like that. And even like before your tongue touches me or your fingers like touch my vagina, I want it to be like super teased up. And like, so I'm
What
really,
does that entail? Like dirty talk, or?
I think it entails like some sort of like, maybe like our bodies, maybe like you're touching me in ways that are sexual, and like our energy is sexual, but like you're not like grabbing me or something like that directly. So I think like it's like an energy exchange more or less, which I think is really hard to like how do you tell someone to have like how do you tell someone to have a good energy exchange? but like, but
Yeah,
I
like by
really generally think it's something like that. And then like when it comes to like the actual performance, I really like it soft, and I like the tip of your finger inside me. So it's like just a little, that's just the tip.
just a
Um,
little bit. I
yeah,
think I actually just like I was never like huge on oral sex like on myself. Like it just like wasn't it wasn't like I would never be satisfied with just that. Like I'm a big
yeah,
penetration person.
yeah. I need fingers as well.
Totally. That being said though, I just learned like a way I really like my pussy eaten is like it's kind of exactly what you said is like I like when it starts off so light.
Yeah,
Like your tongue is a feather.
yeah. You're like,
And if someone can do that for like a good like 2-3 minutes before like going in and getting into it, like it's such a game changer.
yeah,
Like it
that's what I
changes
mean.
the
It's
rest
the
of it.
tease. The build up
Oh,
is, it makes it so much better. It's like you can't just go right into it. You have
no.
to like really tease it and really go slow. That's what I like too.
Yeah. That's one thing I think we do a disservice like in porn is like people don't see the beforehand. Like they don't see that we've been on set for like hours already, like flirting with our co-stars and or
Yeah.
maybe just like tweeting or texting with them before the scene or whatever. So like they don't get to see that like, you know, the turning on part.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. The porn does not, it doesn't benefit in that regard.
Yeah. Um Here's a question. Do you have this question comes from a giver of a foot job, but do you have any tips for giving a good foot job?
Okay, well, one, I think it's all core strength. So if you don't have core strength, work on your core because I swear it's like literally, it's you're just like it's all abdomen. So definitely work on your core strength if you're trying to give foot jobs.
In that sense, like I would say like working out, like your
Yeah,
core specifically, but also like yoga and stuff and Pilates like really actually help in sex. Like
yes.
not just in the obvious way of like keeping your stamina up, but like a lot of poses and positions require a lot of strength to hold.
Yes, 100%. And especially in our line of work for the amount of time that we're doing stuff. So it's like we do have to like stretch and be more flexible and limber and whatnot. It's more beneficial. And yeah, it can make your sex life more pleasurable. As well as I think it's probably even just more, it's good like stimulus for you even where you're just like staying more active and stuff. I think it helps you want to be like you're more sexually aroused and whatnot because your body and your blood is constantly flowing and stuff.
Totally. So the tip there is work out your core. Also,
Yeah,
like for me, like if I'm giving a foot job like on camera, obviously I'm gonna do the things that like you know I want to look good for the camera. But like if I'm giving a foot job like with no cameras around, like it's pretty much strictly on my back with my leg, like this, I guess.
yeah, but like you still have some sort of core strength that you have to do.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's an ab workout to get.
Yeah, I'm like, unless I'm literally laying there and he's holding my feet and I'm just like a limp body, but like, I don't imagine that's the ideal situation that this person is talking about.
Another thing I like doing a lot that like blows people's minds, I think, like when they're into foot jobs, is like I like to like if the guy is like laying here, his head's over here, I'll like do this with my feet and then like suck his dick like this.
Oh yeah,
It's a little tipperoo.
that's the
They go nuts
the
for
yoga
that.
and Pilates coming in.
Next question. This one comes from an older gentleman, I think. He says, I'm older than my girl and I can't keep up. What should I do? I'm assuming what he means by this is that he, like maybe stamina wise, like energy wise, he just can't keep up.
Yeah.
He wants to fuck more. And then maybe he also means like his dick doesn't get as hard or stay as hard anymore because that is a real thing that happens to men. And it's normal,
100%.
so everyone knows.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like you could recommend things like having her tease herself and like maybe even like before you guys actually have sex, you like have her tease herself a bunch so that she's getting herself like really hot and turned on. So like maybe it won't be as much like I guess attention needed from him specifically because she was able to like preemptively prepare herself. Like I'm not sure if that's something.
I
I don't
think
know.
like
It,
no, like kind of what you're saying, but like I feel like there's this misconception that sex is just like the portion of time where the penis is in the vagina, and that's so not true. Like there's so much you could have like if I'm like, oh, I fucked for an hour, like that doesn't necessarily always mean that there was a penis inside of my one of my holes for an hour.
yeah.
Like it totally, it's all like you were saying before, the foreplay or like
Oh yeah,
the
you guys
dirty
can do like
stuff.
dry humping and stuff. I
Oh,
love dry humping. It's
love
like
dry
one of my
humping.
favorite things to do.
Same, same, same.
So I'm like, you don't even have
if you
to be
dry
like,
hump me, I will fuck you.
yeah. So I'm like, he doesn't have to be necessarily hard for her to be grinding on him and dry humping on him before. And like a lot of times I'll come just from that. And it's like, I don't even need you to penetrate me. So
Totally.
like, yeah.
Also, like one trick that a lot of porn guys use, like a lot of male talent, is like when they're either getting winded or like they're losing their hard on for a second. This is like a camera trick, but what they'll do is like they'll pull out and then they'll just eat the girl out until he's ready to go again.
Yeah.
And that's like a totally a trick you can employ in real life. Like if you, maybe, you know, you're just hooking up with someone for the first time and you don't want to be like, hey, I'm losing my boner or something. You can just pull out, go down on her, and like she's not gonna fucking complain.
Yeah.
This is more a question for you because I'm not necessarily known for deep throating.
I don't think I am.
Oh shit, you're not? I thought you were for some reason.
Oh, I don't know. Am I known for deep throating? I
I
didn't
thought
know that.
so. I feel like I hear a lot that you give really good blowjobs.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, do you have any tricks for deep throating?
I mean, honestly, I always think it just depends on the size of the penis and the size of the girl's throat because, like, it's just science. There are certain things that just won't fit down my esophagus. So it's like, I think, like, there's that. So it's like, you can only kind of, like, try, I guess, like, it depends on how big it is. And then after that, I don't know, like, I mean, I've always loved, like, brushing my tongue and like brushing my teeth and like not really having a gag reflex. So I don't know if that's something like worth practicing or even how to train yourself not to have one. Like I don't really know. I think I just like always was like that or something.
I don't know either. But I'm like in this really unfortunate position of like I also don't have a gag reflex, but for some reason I also can't deep throat. It's like so sad.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think it is like uncomfortable. Like deep throating isn't like satisfactory for me. So I think that's also like you have to be like okay with like surrendering yourself to please the other. So it's like because it's like I can't breathe, my eyes are watering, I'm like
my nose is running. Yeah.
So like it's something that you're doing for your significant or your partner. You're not doing it for I'm not doing it for me.
Yeah. There's no like clitoris at the bottom of the throat.
No. If anything, my throat is sore. A lot of times I have to like drink tea afterwards. If it's like a deep throat scene, I'm like, oh, my throat fucking hurts. Like,
No, it's so true. It's not comfortable. Have you ever like if someone tries to deep throat you when you have a cold and your nose is stuffed? It's like
I can't breathe.
Yeah, I might
so
bad. Okay, next question. And I get a version of this question a lot. But do you have any tips on telling your partner you want to spice things up in your sex life? There's always a version of this. Like, how do I get my partner to do anal? How do I peg my partner? But like, I think it all falls under the umbrella of like, how do I communicate to my partner that I want to change things up in the bedroom or add things to the routine? Like, how does that conversation happen?
Honestly, I think that is just so relevant to any particular person's situation because every individual is different. Some people are really caring about the way things are said and whatnot. So it's like, I don't know who you're dating and how your relationship dynamic is working. So it's like, I'm not necessarily sure. Like, it's not like there's a blanket cover of advice for that. So I
That's
think,
really
like,
true.
yeah.
That's really
So,
true. Like if someone might be like, I want you to be really blunt, and then the next person might be like, that was really rude.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that it is kind of like a hard way to navigate it, but I feel like all in all, just like expressing your vulnerability is like the most important thing. And like, and if you're in a relationship with good communication, then like, I think then that you've already reached that point. So like, it should be a good free place for you to express yourself. If you don't have good communication, well then like that's, you got to work on that before you start adding like the sex stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the sex is like kind of the least of your worries. I agree with you. Like, I think me and my husband do couples counseling, and like, I fucking love it. And like, our couples therapist is like, basically, it always boils down to like communicating from a place of vulnerability. Because if you love someone, if they're vulnerable to you, like, you can't be mad at that. Like, you can't be offended by that. So that's a really good tip. Also, I feel like one kind of like a one blanket piece of advice would be like, I think no matter what you want to do, if you're finding it hard to bring up to your partner, I think a really safe way to bring it up is to like watch a porno of that thing.
Oh.
Kind of like let it come up in the rotation and then be like, hey, what do you think of that? Like, or that's the first time I'm seeing that. That's kind of hot. Or like,
that's a good idea, actually.
You know, because then it like also leaves space for the other person to be like, I'm not that into it. Let's move to the next thing. And then you know. So.
Yeah. And then I guess like if your partner's not into it, then you, I guess like, what do you do from there? You know, they're like, and then I guess at that point, you know, you start analyzing other things in yourself and what you're looking for and what's important and what's not important in your relationship.
Yeah, so, like what's the deal breaker?
Yeah.
Do you have anything like that? Like, is there anything that if your partner doesn't do sexually, it's a deal breaker?
I never really thought about it. I mean, I've had pretty like adventurous people that I've dated in the past, but like I mean, like there's one guy that I like right now where doesn't turn me on sexually, but I like to be peed on because I just think it's so funny. Like it's just funny to me, and I think I like it just because I laugh. So I'm like, pee on me, it's so fun. And he just thinks it's really bizarre. But we also, like, we don't have sex. We're not, like, in a relationship or anything like that. But I'm like, if I were to date him, I would want him to pee on me, and I wouldn't want him to be all weird.
Wait, I love that you haven't even fucked this guy, and you already want him to pee on you. Like, anal on the first date is so last season. Now it's all about pee on me the first time we meet. I think I agree with you. I think I also like to be peed on, not necessarily sexually, but like I feel like for some reason I just like it.
Yeah,
like
it's just funny.
And I like what it stands for.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. I like to be familiar and comfortable with a person and having like that little piece of
maybe that's a part of it. It's like we're comfortable with each other. It's like you're my best friend and you're my lover. Like pee on me, it's so funny.
Yes, it's intimate. I think like for me, like I don't know that anything is a deal breaker. I'm sure I could like justify anything, or if someone isn't comfortable with something, I'm sure I could be okay with anything. But like I generally don't like if a guy won't go down on me when I'm on my period. I feel like it like really says a lot about who you are as a human being.
Oh, interesting. I
Like,
actually don't, periods freak me out. Even like as a woman,
we could never date.
no, we couldn't date because they freak me out and I don't know why. I'm like, I don't like to have sex when I'm on my period. I don't like for you to go down on me when I'm like, stay, it's a no-go zone. No.
Whoa!
Yeah.
We are not compatible then.
No. No.
But you know what? Like I said, I would overlook it for you, Riley.
Oh,
You
thanks.
are the number one porn star in the world.
Yeah, I think if anything for me, it would be the opposite. Is like, I don't know if
Oh fuck, we just lost Riley. I don't know what happened. I think maybe she got disconnected. Let me see if. Oh, her phone died. That's okay. Riley, if you're able to see this, don't worry about it. It has been the perfect amount of time, and we were gonna have to end it soon anyway because Instagram kicks us off at the 30-minute mark sometimes. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. That was today's episode of Just the Tip, where you get sex tips and sex advice, uneducated sex tips and sex advice from porn stars. Thank you so much for joining us, Reid, one of the most popular porn stars in the world. We'll be back next week with Demi Sutra. She's our guest for next week's Just the Tip. And also this week, I will be back with 7 Minutes in Heaven, which is our other Instagram live show on Pornhub, with Leah McSweeney from Real Housewives of New York and Angela White, everyone's favorite. Oh, Riley is writing in the comments. Sorry, her phone died. But that's okay. We love you, Riley. And thank you so much to everyone for joining us. And I'll see you in a few days. Bye.